Have you ever felt like the world got faster and left you behind? Have you ever looked around and realized no one listens to you anymore, even when you speak? If this silence has been with you for a while, if conversations have dwindled, invitations have stopped, and visits have become rare, then this video is for you. It's not easy to admit we feel invisible, but today, together, we'll take the first step out of this quiet place, because you're not alone and you never have been. Over the next few minutes, we'll reflect together on 10 possible paths to turn isolation into action. Simple, real steps, ones you can start today, because silence may feel calm, but true peace is when we feel seen, heard, and remembered. Shall we walk this path together? Acknowledge the silence. Some silences heal, and some silences hurt. And it's the second kind we need to talk about today. Recognizing silence as a sign, not as peace, is the first step to transforming how we live our days. Often, as we grow older, we drift apart not by choice, but because the world around us seems to lose interest in our presence. Conversations fade, phone calls disappear, eyes no longer turn toward us. The house grows quieter, yes, but silence is not tranquility. It can be a disguise for abandonment, sadness, or even fear. Have you ever felt that? The emptiness that makes no sound but weighs heavy. The absence of voices, of visits, of purpose. Sometimes, silence even feels like rest, but inside, the heart screams. It's like a house with the lights off from the outside. Everything seems calm. But inside, it's dark, cold, and empty. The problem is, when we live with this kind of silence for too long, we start to believe it's normal. That this is just how it is, that it's our fate, but it's not. We weren't born to be invisible. In these cases, silence isn't a space of peace. It's a muffled cry. It can hide far more than it seems. It can hide deep sadness. It can hide an overwhelming need to be heard, but the fear of being a burden keeps us from speaking. It can hide accumulated hurts, memories no one seems to want to hear anymore, or simply the pain of watching time pass and take with it faces, voices, and stories. And even when we're surrounded by people, at a party, a family gathering, even a church group, this silence can still live inside us. Because true silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the absence of attention. Acknowledging this is an act of courage. It's not easy to admit that what we call peace might actually be loneliness in disguise. Sometimes we learn to smile on the outside and stay silent within. And this isn't about complaining about life or seeking attention. It's about something much deeper, reclaiming the feeling that our presence matters, that we still have something to say, that we can still teach, listen, welcome, dream. But as long as we believe this silence is just a phase or an inevitable part of aging, we'll keep accepting a life smaller than the one we deserve. Today, the invitation is to face this silence head on, without fear, without pretense. Ask yourself, what is this silence trying to tell me? Does it come from an unhealed wound? From a distance no one understood? From a life that shrank day after day without us even noticing? When we recognize silence as a sign, not a sentence, we begin to make room for something new. A space where, little by little, our voice echoes again, where our stories find listeners, where our existence is noticed once more by ourselves and by others. Silence isn't always a choice. Sometimes it's imposed, but acting on it, that is in our hands. And acknowledgement is the first step to breaking it. Because silence might be comfortable for a while, but living unheard is dying. Slowly, and you're not here to disappear. You're here to keep existing out loud, with steady presence, in a full life. Understand your emotions. We are not just what we live. We are also what we feel and what we silence. When silence settles into our lives, it rarely comes alone. Along with it slip in feelings like sadness, fear, guilt, and sometimes an anger we can't even explain. All of this quietly settles inside us. But it's there. And why does this happen? Because over time, through losses, disappointments, and distance, we accumulate emotions that were never expressed, never understood, never healed. But here's the thing. Emotion is not weakness. Quite the opposite. Feeling is proof that we're still alive. That we're still human, still sensitive, still connected to what matters. The problem is when we start ignoring what we feel, or worse, when we convince ourselves we no longer have the right to feel. How many times have you heard or told yourself, "Oh, I'm too old for this. What's the point of feeling? That time has passed. Now it's just about waiting." These phrases, though common, are poisonous. They sever our connection to what stirs inside us. Because as long as we're alive, feeling is a right. And more than that, it's a necessity. Sadness, for example, is not the enemy. It might be telling us, "You're missing something important." Anger might be saying, "You were hurt, and no one noticed." Loneliness might be shouting, "You need to be seen, you need to reconnect." And even fear, so often avoided, can be a messenger whispering, "It's time to change." But how do we hear these voices? How do we understand these emotions when we're so used to silencing them? Start with a simple act. Set aside a moment in your day right after coffee or before bed and ask yourself gently, "What am I feeling today?" Is there an emotion asking to be heard? Where does it hurt inside me? You might even write it down in a notebook, on a scrap of paper, without worrying about eloquence, spelling, or judgment. This is for you. Only for you. Naming what you feel is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, what seemed confusing starts to take shape, starts to make sense. And no, you don't have to figure it all out alone. If the sadness feels too heavy, if something feels beyond your strength, seek support. A professional, a listening group, someone you trust. The greatest courage in life isn't facing the world. It's facing yourself. And emerging lighter, more whole, more true. Repressed emotion is like dammed water. Sooner or later, it overflows. Sometimes as illness, other times as withdrawal, still other times as total silence. But when we understand our emotions, we take a decisive step toward reclaiming our voice, our autonomy, and most of all, our peace, the kind that comes from within. Because true peace isn't the absence of emotion. It's being at peace with what we feel, without guilt, without shame, without hiding. You deserve that. You deserve to listen to yourself, to welcome yourself, to respect yourself. Because there's still so much life inside you. And all life, no matter the age, beats, feels, and longs to be felt. Reconnect with your memories. Memory isn't just recollection. It's a place where we find ourselves again. Sometimes when we feel forgotten, the best way to recover who we are is to remember who we've been. Reconnecting with your memories isn't just a nostalgic exercise. It's a reunion with your identity, with everything you've built, faced, loved, and also with what you still can live. Have you ever noticed how an old song, the smell of a familiar dish, or a tucked-away photograph has the power to bring back moments that seemed lost? Suddenly, you feel the warmth of a long-ago embrace, the laughter of someone who's gone, the pride of a triumph from years past. And for an instant, you're that person again, the one who believed, who dreamed, who felt alive. The truth is, memories have power. They remind us that we were part of so much, that we didn't pass through life unnoticed, that we left marks, touched hearts, wrote entire chapters in someone else's story. And when the present feels too quiet, memories can help us rediscover the sound of our own significance. But don't keep them all inside. Share them. Tell your story. Even if it seems simple. Talk about your childhood, about a youthful love, about the fears you overcame, about the first time you felt proud of yourself. Don't assume no one wants to hear. Sometimes the younger generations are desperate for wisdom. They just don't know how to ask. And you carry a whole world within you. Pull out an old photo album, pick one picture, and tell the story behind it. Record a voice memo. Write a letter, make a phone call, or simply share it while looking someone in the eye. It might seem small, but to the listener, it could be the most meaningful moment of their day. Beyond that, revisiting your memories can show you something powerful. You've overcome before. You've survived hard winters, lost loved ones, started over, rebuilt. And if you've done it before, you can do it again. Remembering is also remembering your strength. And if some memories hurt, that's okay, don't run from them. The difficult ones shaped us too. They taught us about resilience, forgiveness, and new beginnings. Not to live in the past, but to honor the journey that brought us here. And from there, find strength for the present, because those who know their own history are never truly alone. They carry within them a multitude of laughter, tears, victories, and lessons. Reconnect with your memories. Give them a place of honor, not oblivion. And step by step, the silence that hurts begins to fill with echoes of who you've always been, a life worth remembering, and even more worth sharing. Create daily rituals. Life needs rhythm. Small gestures that say, I'm still here. In times of loneliness, routine can feel like a burden. Days start to blur together, like blank pages repeating themselves. But here's a secret. It's not the length of the day that matters, it's what we put into it. And that's why daily rituals become so important. Rituals aren't chores. They aren't obligations. They're small, intentional acts that give meaning to time and restore presence to our existence. Imagine lighting a candle in the evening, making coffee your special way, writing 3 words in a notebook right after waking up. It might seem small, but it's not. It's a quiet signal that you're taking care of your own life, even if no one sees it. When we create rituals, we tell ourselves, my life still matters. My actions still have value. I still have a say in my own day. For example, choosing nice clothes just to stay home, walking to the gate just to look at the sky for 2 minutes, watering your plants at the same time every day, talking to them, writing letters even if you never send them, or simply listening to the same song every morning while drinking coffee. This isn't a waste of time. This is the construction of presence. Rituals create an invisible structure, an emotional foundation. They tell your body, your mind, and your heart, you're not abandoned, you matter to yourself. And over time, these rituals open space for other presences to arrive. Because those who care for themselves attract care. Those who live with intention inspire those around them. You start to be noticed by the energy you carry, even without speaking. Now think, what simple ritual can you start today? It could be writing 1 sentence of gratitude each day, sitting in the same corner of the couch to say a prayer, turning on the radio at the same time and dancing, yes, dancing alone. Because these quiet moments aren't loneliness, they're presence, and presence begins within. But I live alone. Yes, but you have yourself. And that's the first relationship that needs tending. Creating rituals is the start of rebuilding your inner space. And over time, that space becomes strong enough to welcome new friendships, new interests, even new forms of love. So don't wait for big external changes. Start with small internal gestures. They're the seeds of your reinvention. Because those who have rituals have a path. Those who have a path have direction. And those who have direction are never lost, even when walking in silence. Share your wisdom. What you've learned in life might be exactly what someone needs to hear. Have you ever stopped to think about all the experiences you've gathered over the years? Years of work, raising children, overcoming losses, renewing faith, quiet, new beginnings. All of it is gold. But too often, that gold stays locked away, hidden inside your chest. Not because you don't want to share, but because the world doesn't seem to ask for your opinion anymore. As if, after a certain age, wisdom loses its value. But it doesn't. It never has. What you've lived through, every hardship faced, every victory earned, every tough choice has built something in you that no school can teach. Life wisdom. And that is urgent. There are young people out there, lost in doubts, anguish, and pressures you've already faced and overcome. There are people searching for advice in videos, books, social media, when they could find it in a conversation with you. But for that, you need to step forward again as a source. You need to remind yourself, I have something to offer. Sharing. Wisdom isn't about lecturing, it's about telling stories. It's remembering what saved you in hard times. It's saying, I've been there. You're not alone. It's looking someone in the eye and showing them life goes on, even after the storms. And there are so many ways to do this. You could start at a church group, a discussion circle, a book club, or a visit with a younger relative. You could write a short message and share it in a family WhatsApp group. You could teach someone to bake a cake, care for a plant, or navigate grief. You could teach them how to listen, something rarer and more valuable than any speech today. But will anyone even listen? Believe this, the world needs wisdom-filled listening more than ever. And you carry that inside you. And even if at first no one seems to pay attention, keep going. Because every word you offer in truth will one day find ears. And it doesn't have to reach crowds. If it touches even one person, that's transformation. That's meaning. That's connection. You don't need to reinvent yourself as someone new. You just need to remember who you are and how much you know. Because the silence that hurts often comes from feeling forgotten. And shared wisdom is a bridge that reconnects you to the world. Wisdom kept to yourself is like a light turned off, but wisdom shared illuminates everyone's path. Reconnect with someone. Sometimes the distance between two hearts is just a simple "how are you" that was never spoken. As time passes, we drift apart, sometimes due to missed connections, other times because of unspoken hurts, often simply because of silence. And this silence grows between us and the people who were once part of our lives. A childhood friend, a child who grew distant, a sibling with whom conversations cooled, a neighbor who disappeared from our mornings. And so, we start to believe reconnection is impossible, that too many years have passed, that it's too late now. But it isn't, because true bonds don't break, they only sleep. And sometimes, a simple gesture is all it takes to wake them. Maybe you're waiting for the other person to take the first step. But think about it. What if they're waiting too? Two people missing each other, but trapped in pride or fear of rejection. If you reach out, you might be offering exactly what the other person also needs. Reconnecting doesn't require grand speeches. It can start with a short message. I thought of you today. I miss you. How are you? If you'd like to talk, I'm here. You don't have to resolve everything at once. Just open a crack. Plant a seed. Show that you're still open to meeting again. And even if there's no immediate reply, the simple act of reaching out already chips away at the wall of isolation. Because reconnecting is above all an act of courage, of humility, and of hope. But what if they ignore me? It could happen. But what matters most is what this says about you, that your heart is still alive, open, willing. And that alone is a victory. And don't think reconnection is only about people from the past. It can be with someone in the present you haven't allowed yourself to know yet. A new neighbor, a grandchild who grew up and became almost a stranger, someone at church who always greets you warmly. There are always people closer than we realize. Sometimes it's just a matter of looking more carefully and making space. Remember, no one is strong all the time, and no one should carry their whole life alone. Sometimes all we need is a conversation, a reunion, a hug, even if it's over the phone. Because silence dissolves in contact, and isolation breaks with a simple gesture. Today, take that step. Choose a name, one person, and try again. Because reconnecting with someone might be exactly what your heart has been asking for. And maybe what the other person needed too, without knowing how to ask. Seek small, in-person gatherings. Eye to eye is still the best remedy for emptiness. We live in times where everything feels distant. Conversations are short, hugs scarce, invitations rare. And as we grow older, this intensifies. Friends pass away, children get busy, neighbors move. Life slows down, and the body feels it. But what the heart often feels is the absence of human presence. Do you remember the last time you sat with someone just to talk, unhurried? It doesn't have to be a crowd or a special event. Coffee with a neighbor, a walk with an old friend, a visit to someone from church, even a trip to the bakery with time for a longer good morning. Because what fills a life most isn't big parties, it's small gatherings with warmth. The simple moments that cost nothing but mean everything. It's easy to think, no one invites me anywhere. But what if you do the inviting? A light gesture, like saying, "Let's grab coffee at the corner. Stop by my place, I made that cake you like. How about a short walk tomorrow morning?" These invitations might seem small, but they're real gifts, because every gathering is an exchange of stories, laughter, human warmth. And when we share, we feel alive, seen, valued. You don't even have to leave home if it's difficult. Sometimes just open the door, sit on the porch, greet passers-by, create moments where others' presence is possible. Small gatherings, but with great intention. But will anyone want to? More people than you imagine feel the same loneliness. They're just afraid to say it. Be that courage. Take the first step. Create opportunities. Loneliness feeds on silence. But connection feeds on initiative. You could start a new routine, one afternoon a week for tea with someone. One Sunday a month to gather whoever wants to hear your stories. A bench at the park where you allow yourself to be visible, present, available to life. Because isolation ends when the door opens. And sometimes, all the world needs is for you to show up. Let yourself be found. Let yourself be company. Because even as time passes, there are still encounters waiting for you. Give new purpose to your time. Life doesn't end when we grow older. It changes direction, and that can also mean freedom. After so many years dedicating time to others, raising children, working hard, maintaining a home, facing battles, comes a phase when time seems abundant. But what's often missing is a new purpose for that time. Here's the truth. You can still have a why for each day. Purpose isn't about grand plans or achievements. It's about meaning. About waking up and knowing, today I have something that moves me. It could be helping someone, learning something new, caring for a plant, writing your memoirs, visiting someone who's ill, sewing, teaching, singing, walking, praying for others. What matters is that it lights up your eyes, that it makes you feel useful, present, part of life. But I've already done so much. Do I still have more to give? Yes, and perhaps now more than ever. Because now you have both time and wisdom, a rare combination. Purpose can also mean reconnecting with what was postponed. How many dreams did you set aside because it wasn't the right time? Now it can be. Always wanted to paint? Write poetry? Learn to use a smartphone to talk to distant grandchildren? Visit simple places from your childhood? The time that belonged to others can now be yours, and more. Your new purpose might simply be taking good care of yourself. This isn't selfishness, it's self-care. A new project, tending to your health, your mind, your emotions. Going to therapy if you wish, meditating, reading more. Knowing yourself better. You're still evolving. Because the soul doesn't age, it deepens. But I don't know where to start. Start small. Ask yourself, what makes me feel good? What brings me lightness, What interests me, even if it seems silly? The answer might lie in something simple yet powerful. Sometimes, purpose is caring for a grandchild. Other times, it's being the kindest person on your street. It could be praying for those in need, organizing old photos, baking bread for neighbors. All of this is living with intention. And living with intention is living with dignity, because it's not the world's noise that defines your worth. It's the sound from within, what moves you, inspires you, gives you reason to keep going. You still have time. And this time can still be beautiful, useful, and full of meaning. Give it new purpose. Not to please anyone, but to honor yourself. Because every day lived with meaning. Is a victory against emptiness. Reconnect with nature. Nature demands no words, it simply welcomes. When the silence at home feels heavy. When the walls seem to close in, there's a place that always receives us. Nature. And you don't need to travel far. It could be a simple garden, a neighborhood park, an old tree on the corner, an open window facing the sky. Being in nature reminds us we're part of something greater. That its rhythm is wiser. Leaves fall and regrow without asking permission. Just like us. When we connect with the earth, the wind, the scent of flowers or rain, something within us realigns. Loneliness loses its grip when we realize we're not alone. Life pulses around us. A bird singing, sunlight warming your skin, a plant asking for water. Gradually, nature's presence restores our own. Walk barefoot on grass, touch a tree, sit under the open sky for a few minutes. Grow something, even just one small pot. You'll notice, nurturing life, even in its simplest form, is nurturing yourself, because those who reconnect with nature reconnect with their soul. Learn to be your own company. Before wanting the world to see us, we must first see ourselves. Loneliness hurts more when we believe we need others to feel whole. But there's profound strength in discovering that even alone, we can be enough, not as isolation, but as inner peace. Learning to be good company for yourself is one of maturity's greatest gifts. It's sitting in silence without anguish, cooking something delicious just for you, listening to your memories without sadness, even laughing at them. This doesn't mean you don't need others. It means that when companionship comes, it will be by choice, not need, and that changes everything. You begin to feel free, strong, full of self-love. Being your own best company is like lighting an inner lamp that shines even when no one's watching. Because when you accept yourself, the world starts seeing you differently. Silence becomes space. Solitude becomes power. Now that you've heard all this. Take a deep breath and ask yourself gently, what can I do for myself? Today? Maybe send a message, light a candle, plant a seed, write a memory. Call someone. Step outside to see the sky. The size of the action doesn't matter, the step does, because silence isn't peace when it hurts. But it can be transformed with courage, with choice, with small acts of presence. And if this message spoke to you, like it, share it, leave a comment. Say, I am here, and I choose not to stay silent. You can't imagine who might need to read your words. You can't imagine how many people, just like you, are waiting for a sign to begin again. Let's make that sign echo. Let's turn isolation into action. Because your voice matters, your story has value, and you've never been truly alone. Subscribe to continue this journey of reconnecting with your own wisdom. We're here, and we'll keep walking together.